Well, good morning. It might look to you like I'm walking through a forest somewhere, but I'm not. I'm actually in the heart of one of the biggest cities on earth, Kuala Lumpur. It's just done very well, where they have this beautiful greenery like this. They've done what looks to me like a miniature forest in the middle of the city. It's beautiful. And it gives it a good life, a good feel as you're wandering through this very large city. And Kuala Lumpur is big. It's also very modern. There's a lot of great things to do here, a lot of good places to eat, and a lot of sights to see. And while we're here in Malaysia, we're going to be enjoying all of these things. And I'm glad that you're coming along with me. Kuala Lumpur is one of those places around the world that is well known as a financial district. And that's going to tie in to what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about when you're living overseas, when you're retiring, not running out of money, and how to do that, how to live your life within your means. It's a big part of making that mind shift into retirement and living overseas so that you don't have to head back to your home country and go back to work. So we're going to talk about that today while we see the beautiful downtown area of Kuala Lumpur. Let's go. Where else could be better to cover these important steps that make it possible to live overseas and not run out of money than here in Kuala Lumpur? Because it's such a beautiful, seemingly luxurious city, but it's actually low cost. I live here, very affordable. We'll talk more about that. There are 3 basic steps that I utilize so that I don't run out of money when I'm overseas. And this does not include having like an emergency fund, which you should already have built before you start traveling like this. You should have that emergency fund in place. It should not be invested. It should be sitting in a bank account that you can access easily, or through a credit card, whatever it takes. That way you have that for an emergency situation. That's not what we're talking about. The first thing we're going to discuss is we're going to discuss stability. Having a stable passive income. If you don't have a stable passive income, you will find out that you are broke very quickly because of a shifting economy. The economy goes up and down back in our home countries, and that can leave us without the income that we need to continue traveling and living our life overseas. The most stable of all your passive incomes is going to be something like treasury bills. But the treasury bills, maybe they pay 3 in a situation where they need more money for the treasury. They might pay 3.5%, but it is stable income and it is tax-free, and that's nice. Probably the next most stable income that you're going to find is going to be through bonds. But you have to be careful with bonds. The reason why I say that is some bonds are invested in very risky schemes, okay? Sometimes you'll have cities and states that issue bonds. They're called municipal bonds. And if that city and state is not well run, those bonds can be in jeopardy. The same thing happens with companies. When they issue bonds, they are generally strong if the company is strong because they're going to be able to make payments on those bonds. But if the company has a problem, then you have a problem, okay? Something to think about is this. This is what I like to do when it comes to the most stable income. Of all of my dividend stocks, the most stable have been either the funds that have like a mixture of dividend stocks, but even more stable than those are bond funds. There are bond funds, I'm going to put a few here for you to look at. These are diversified amongst a bunch of different bonds, and they pay a very stable income. Even when there's issues in the economy, whether there's a recession, a depression, a war breaks out, these bond funds have a tendency to barely change, okay? Compared to other investments, even diversified dividend stock accounts. They're really good, don't get me wrong. I'll put a couple down here for you to look at. Those are pretty darn good when it comes to stable passive income. But diversified bond funds, they're even more stable. And so I try to get a mix of those. Diversified bond funds, diversified dividend stock funds, and then I add in some dividend stocks that I believe are very stable and are going to give me a good income. And I'll give you a couple of those. Let me find a seat over here so we can keep talking. Some of the funds that I like to invest in for stable income that are not like diversified bond funds or diversified dividend stock funds, but they're more in a sector, I'm going to put them down here. Okay, PIC is one of my favorite because it's diversified within the mining industry, and that to me is just one of the best investments going forward with all the updates that need to happen to our infrastructure. Also, I look at some of the funds that are diversified in the energy sector. So I'm not just, buying one particular energy project or one particular energy company that could have massive fluctuations. And down here, I'm going to put a few of the funds that I like to invest in the energy sector. These stocks give me kind of a nice spread in energy, whether it's in pipelines or plants or refining or whatever the case might be, drilling. And that way I have a more stable income over time. And that's the first step, having a stable passive income. That's very important if you're going to retire and live overseas.
Inside of the beautiful Petronas Twin Towers, there's a luxury mall area. It's so nice. It's kind of a little expensive for me, but it is very nice to walk through, and I wanted you to see what it looks like. Now we're going to go behind the mall. I want to show you where they have an incredible area that they've built. This is acres of park that is right behind the mall. It's like a private park area. And this is just a wonderful part of my walk. I either come to the botanical gardens or I come here to the park area behind the mall. Just look at this.
Can you believe this? This is behind this beautiful Twin Towers and the mall that's inside. Look at this. How beautiful. My gosh. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it. Whew. So I want to talk about what the second step is if you're going to be traveling like this, living overseas and living a low-cost lifestyle. And one of the most important things is going to be that you change your way of spending your money. I don't want you to make payments on things, and I don't want you to buy goofy, expensive stuff. So in other words, I want you to spend less. I want you to start thinking about reducing what you're spending every month on frivolous things. This is what I did to give you a little guideline. I went through my bank account and my credit cards and I found out what monthly payments I was making. And I asked myself, did I need this anymore? Did I have to have this monthly payment? Some were like $5, $7, like for streaming services and all kinds of things. And I was like, no, I don't need these things. And I got rid of them. And each time I did that, I reduced that payment. And that was like giving myself a increase in my pay in retirement. Shifting your mindset so that you spend less money every month. That's so important, so that you don't try to get into this, I need to try to look like people that have lots of money. I need to try to drive a fancy car in retirement, or when you're traveling overseas, traveling with a bunch of luggage, staying in very expensive places. We're going to talk more about that. But basically, I want you to lower your monthly cost of living by reducing what you're spending, okay? Changing your spending habits. What an incredible area back here. Just amazing. 1 year I've been gone, and look at the way this place has already been developed up. A lot of this was under construction the last time I was here. Look at how beautiful. It just stretches way back over there. They got kids playing in the water. We'll go over and take a look at that in a moment. But I want to talk to you about the third thing that I had to do. And that was a big part of being able to afford this life of retirement. And that was I had to change my cost of living. I had to actually go someplace that was cheaper to live. You see, I'm from the state of Hawaii, which is very expensive, okay? My home state is very pricey. The United States is pricey in general, but out of the United States, Hawaii is the most expensive. And I couldn't retire there. If I wanted to stay there, I would have to work and probably have to work a side job on top of my job. But by changing my cost of living, I was able to actually enjoy an early retirement and travel. What did it mean for me to leave my, home state that I love? Well, it wasn't easy, first of all. But the timing was right because my kids were heading off to college. So it was the right time for me to go. As the future comes around, things may change. I might have to change my plans and re-look at the situation. But for right now, I'm in the sweet spot. And traveling and lowering my cost of living to beautiful places like this. Places where I live with housing that costs me, $500 a month? Meals that are costing me $10 a day? Sometimes more, depending upon where I go. Sometimes I'll have a little extra meal here and there, then it's like $15 for that day. But overall, my cost of food is rather low. And my cost of living is low. And that's why I could retire. So the third step is going to be to lower your cost of living by changing your location to somewhere that's cheaper. Investing in passive income, that's one. 2, spending less per month, seeing what you're paying in automatic payments. Cancel those things, okay? What you're used to spending every month, the way you're used to throwing your money around, it needs to change so that you can change, so that you can actually move forward with your retirement and enjoy a less stressful life. And third, you need to change your location. You need to live somewhere that's cheaper. And that's not an easy thing to say. It's not like, hey, I think you should just sell everything like I did, I sold everything that I owned, everything. I took my house and rented it out long term. I have no car, no motorcycle, no storage, nothing. Everything went into my investments, and I grabbed my backpack and my passport. I took off. I'm gone. All right? That's a lot to ask of you. But starting out 1 month, 3 months, exploring, and then making the decision that's right for you, that's the way to do that step 3, to transition to a lower cost of living location on this earth. Okay, I'm glad we talked about this. Let's go ahead and look around a little bit more. It's beautiful here. Because we're like behind that big twin towers, let me show you where they're at right now, okay? They're right here behind me, right there, you see them? And that's also like a big shopping mall inside in the lower levels. Because we're behind them, we don't have all the noise from the street. It's like this oasis in the middle of a massive city. Just look at this. It's incredible. If you stayed with me this long, there's one more that I want to give you. One more hidden gem so that you don't run out of money. And this is something that I made possible. Let's take a moment. Let's talk about this. Thanks for sticking with me on this video. You're going to like this one. We've all seen how inflation went up unexpectedly, and also the cost of living, the cost of food, housing, everything has gone up. And it's nice to think that, well, eventually it'll come down. The reality is it's not going to, okay? Things will go up to a drastic amount. They'll come down a little. Everyone will feel better. Reality is it actually went higher, okay? And it's just a game that the Fed plays. It's a game the way the economy works. And we have to try to stay ahead of that. If you don't stay ahead of inflation and the cost of living, the money that you're making right now, even if you lower your cost of living, you might survive now, but your money's going to be worth less in the future. So the fourth thing, the secret one, you have to keep investing. while you're retired. And you're like, how do I do that? I'm retired. I don't have a job now. I know, I get it. That's where number 3 comes in, that you lowered your cost of living. Because I live in a low-cost location, I have enough money every month to be able to invest a little bit more. And it's not a lot. But what's interesting is that it's more than I was able to invest when I was living back in the States per month. That's right. I'm able to invest more now, retired, than I could when I was back in the States working and living in that high-cost environment. Craziness. Just madness. I'm telling you that this is the key, is to change your location. Not only will you live lower costs now during your retirement, but you can keep investing so that you don't have to end your retirement because you have to go back to work. I appreciate you spending some time with me today. We got a chance to see not only the beautiful downtown area, but we also got a chance to see this park that's now here behind this beautiful Twin Towers. When I was here a year ago, a lot of this was under construction and it wasn't fully open. They had it blocked off. They also had construction of a building nearby, and I think that also caused them to basically shut this down. And look at how beautiful it is. It's massive. This park is huge, and it's like a private park inside of this shopping mall grounds for the Twin Towers, which are right there behind me. Incredible. I'm just amazed. Kuala Lumpur never ceases to amaze me. I love coming to Malaysia. I intend to come here every year that I'm retired. I intend to come here and spend time here. I might even come back again later this year. I'm just really enjoying myself, and I'm glad that you're spending some time with me, because we're having a good time going through Southeast Asia and seeing different countries, low-cost countries to live in, living a lower-cost overseas lifestyle. That's what we do here. Would you like to learn more? Like and subscribe to the video. Come along with me. I'll talk to you again soon. Aloha.
I stopped into this little convenience store and picked up a bite to eat, and I was like, look at how clean it is. Clean places to sit. There's no homeless people sitting outside, nobody injecting themselves. This city is as big as New York. It's just run differently.
Just a brief fast food update here as I'm walking around Kuala Lumpur. The Subway sandwich right there, all the footlongs are $5 or less. The tuna was like $4.50. Okay, so as I'm walking around here in Kuala Lumpur, this gentleman came up to me. He's part of an organization. I'm going to let him explain it. Go ahead.
So basically, we're just raising awareness around this area for this NGO itself.
Okay.
This is an NGO that's helping refugees in Malaysia. It's called Nomadix.
This is an organization helping refugees in Malaysia, and they're going around kind of raising awareness of it. If you can give me like a little paper, I'll put like a link on my social media here for you. Thank you.
I want to show you a few more scenes from here in Kuala Lumpur downtown. It's so beautiful, so green. They do such a wonderful job just keeping it all very lush and green downtown. It doesn't feel like a big urban environment.